So this is rental car number 58. Today I'm driving something a little bit smaller. This is the 2017 Mitsubishi Mirage ES. This is a basic 4-door hatchback. The MSRP on this one starts at about $14,000, and the color of this car is Mercury gray. The Mirage excels at two things, fuel efficiency and reliability. So I think we should start by looking under the hood and seeing what you get for your money. So the Mirage ES comes with a 1.2-liter 3-cylinder engine. That kicks out about 78 horsepower. It's not fast, but it is efficient. When it comes to fuel economy, you get 37 miles per gallon in the city and 43 on the highway. You also get some pretty small wheels. If you'll notice, these are 14 inches in diameter and a mere 4.5 inches in width, so they are tiny, tiny wheels. So the small size of the vehicle combined with the small size of the tires means that it handles pretty much effortlessly. It really does turn on a dime, and it's kind of fun to drive. And since we're already kind of driving around, why don't we jump inside and take a look at what the Mirage has to offer.
Here's the key for the Mirage. It's pretty basic. You just get a lock and unlock button, just the Mitsubishi logo on the back, and you do get a standard key. Started on the right of the steering wheel. The Mirage is not exactly a fancy car. You're not going to get a lot of the features that you'd probably expect with a rental car. For example, there's no buttons on the steering wheel of any kind, and you also don't get cruise controls. Above the steering wheel in the gauge cluster, you'll see it's just a small gauge on the left side for RPMs, your speedometer in the center, and then a very small digital readout right here that shows you your gas and your odometer. To the right of the steering wheel, you do get buttons to control the windows, door locks, mirror controls, and traction control right here. The release for the fuel cap is down here, and then the release for the hood is right there. The side view mirror is a decent size. Same with the one on the passenger side. Up top you do get a light, and then an indicator to tell you whether or not the airbags are engaged or not. The rear view mirror is just a standard mirror. And then the center console is also pretty basic. So you get your hazard lights up here on top. You do get a CD player. There's a small digital readout. You'll notice that I did plug in my cell phone right here through the auxiliary jack, and that's because there is no Bluetooth in this vehicle. There is a USB connection, and it's located right here in the glove box. The buttons to interact with the entertainment features are pretty large. I feel like they're made of nice, high-quality plastic. And then I've learned this because I rented the Mirage G4 recently, but to turn the entertainment on and off, you do have to push and hold for 2 seconds to power down the unit. Climate controls are pretty basic. You just get 3 dials right here, a single button to turn on and off the air conditioning, and then your vent control right here. Below the climate controls, you do get 2 nice-sized cup holders, and then a small storage cutout right here. I'm using that to keep my toll pass for the moment. There is a DC power port right here, and then you get your gear shift. This is it's pretty clunky, I gotta admit. I mean, it works fine, but it takes a little bit of effort to get it to move through those gears. And then finally, you do get a standard parking brake. I showed you the glove box before, but just to take a quick look, it is a decent size. I mean, this is my water bottle. It's pretty large, and it easily fits inside the glove box. So the back seat of this car is pretty small, but it has some decent leg room. About 6 feet tall. I have this driver's seat pushed back pretty far, and I still have a couple of inches of leg room. I do have to admit, though, that the ceiling is pretty low, and I'm sort of scraping my head and hitting it right on the edge, and that's with me kind of slouching a little bit. There's not a whole lot of amenities back here. You just get window controls and door locks. You'll notice that the center armrest for the front seat does not include any kind of features. Sometimes you get some vents right here, or maybe a USB connection, but that's not present on the Mirage. I do want to show you, though, that usually you get some sort of handles up here and maybe a hook to hang a jacket, but that's not present on the Mirage. Instead, what they've done is they've included a small hook on the back of the passenger seat, and you can hang your jacket there. If you'll notice though, my sport coat is hitting the floor, so I don't know. I think maybe this could be designed a little bit better. There also is no center armrest for your passengers. It's just a blank spot. And I gotta be honest, it's a little bit small back here. I don't think you can get 3 adults back here, but 2 people could sit comfortably. On a positive note though, I really like the car seat anchors. If you'll notice, you can see them without having to reach into the seat at all because they've cut out a small section of the fabric right here. Now you don't notice this when you're sitting here, but it does make connecting a car seat super easy. And I kind of wish that a couple other auto manufacturers would take note of this and do something similar. Now the rear seats do fold down, and I just want to note something because when the seat folds down, the seatbelt does get in the way. So they've included a small cutout right here on the door, and hopefully I can do this one-handed, but you can stick the seatbelt buckle right in there to keep the seatbelt out of the way when you collapse the seats. This is it's pretty, well, it's kind of easy to use, but I think it's kind of a smart feature.
Alright, so let's close things out by just taking a look at the very rear of this vehicle. First off, I gotta say, I'm a big fan of the power of the hatchback. I love how you can fold the rear seats down and really take full advantage of the space. And that's true of this one too. Even though the Mirage is a pretty small car, when you do fold those rear seats down, well, you get a pretty decent storage space. And let's close things out by talking about what it's like to drive the Mirage. This is not a powerful performance vehicle. It's small, it's pretty slow, but this is a budget car. And for about $14,000, you do really get a nice driving vehicle. And as an added bonus, the cabin noise really isn't that bad. Let me give you just a quick taste of what it's like.
Very modern twist to it. Some village band.
It's decent, right? I mean, I was able to listen to my podcast without any problems. I guess what I'm saying here is, would I preferred a nicer rental car for the day? Probably, but the Mirage gets the job done and it's pretty cheap, so you really can't overlook that. So after driving this car for about 2 days, putting my standard 160 miles on it, I'm going to give the 2017 Mitsubishi Mirage 3 stars. For $14,000, this is a pretty decent hatchback. It's a little small for my taste and the engine is a little bit underperforming, but overall I had a good experience. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you join me next time when we drive something a little bit faster. That'll be the 2017 Chevy Camaro. I'll see you then.
Thank you for watching.